Hi, welcome back to AutoReview. My name is Patrick and today I have the pleasure to present you the brand new 2018 Citroen C4 Cactus. Before we get to the car, please hit the subscribe button so you're informed about every new video and activate the bell icon, otherwise you might miss one or two videos as well. And thank you very much Garage Goldswil AG, who provided this car to me. You'll find a link in the description where you can actually get this particular car or any other Citroen and Hyundai and SsangYong models. So coming back to the car, so here we have the Cactus C4 PureTech 130 start-stop 6-speed manual shine. We have 3 trim levels: live, feel and shine. So we have here the highest trim level, and we have here the most powerful engine, 1.2 liter 3-cylinder producing 131 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, and a maximum torque we have of 230 Newton meters at 1,750, so right down at the ref range. We have a 0 to 100 time in 9.1 seconds, top speed of 207 kilometers per hour, with a fuel tank capacity of 50 liters, and a fuel consumption that I tested was 3.8 to 5.3 liters. You should be able to reach anything around 940 to more than 1,300 kilometers on one fuel tank, depending on how you drive and obviously on the conditions. I drove this mostly on the highway and some B roads with a little bit of city traffic, and I was actually really surprised of how fuel efficient this car is. CO2 emissions are 110 grams per kilometer, and we have a Euro 6 norm here in this car. So I'll show you the first row, the second row, the boot space, then we drive and I tell you what I think about it. Enjoy! We forgot the prices, sorry for that. The C4 Cactus starts in Switzerland at 21,200 Swiss francs. The one that we have here with all the things on board that you will see throughout the video would be 30,800 Swiss francs. However, that particular one, if you really would like to buy this black one here and that I'm testing now, actually there's a special price at the moment for 26,800 Swiss francs. Again, Garage Goldswil AG, just call them or contact them and ask about this car. Now let's go. Alright, the C4 Cactus from inside, and this is one thing that the French are really great in, and I have to say design is what they know how to do. So we have this huge doors actually, so you have to be careful when you open them, and they have like this position, so it's not easy. You see they kind of heavy and fall inside if they are not in this position. The handles are really great, I really love them. It looks like a big leather belt. Nice comfy armrest here. On top we have hard plastic with again this air bumps kind of design here. Big storage in the doors which fits 1.5 liter bottles easily. Then on top here we have as well hard plastic. This is a little bit softer. This is soft, and then here everything is hard and some painted parts as well. Now we have electric windows in the front with the one-touch function, which is great, which is both up and down. I like that. Air vents left, 2 in the middle, which one small one for the driver and a bigger one for the passenger in the rear, and none on the right side because we have this super fancy, looks like a suitcase actually, cover for the glove box, and you have like this buttons here which when you put something on top is supposed to prevent that it flies around. Once we open that, you have a big glove box with instruction manual there, and you can turn on and off the passenger airbag in case you have a baby here with the booster seat. Then on the left side we have the mirror adjustment, electric mirrors, as well as the light up and down, and that would be the first criticizing point that I have. This car is not available with xenon or LED, not even if you want to pay for it. It only comes in halogen, and for me, for a car in 2018, I think at least offer it as an option, and that is something that for me a big drawback. Then steering wheel, let me see, we can adjust and reach and rake, which is good. We have a very minimalistic dashboard, which is kind of a very long and thin screen, which only shows speed, the odometer, a fuel gauge, and the speed that you're driving for the cruise control as well, which shows on the street signs, and some engine check light and so on and so on. On the right side we have nothing. We have a start-stop button in the center console. On the left side, a USB port on the right and a 12-volt power socket on the far right. And on the bottom we have the grip control, which is basically an electronic grip management system that you can choose road, snow, uneven, sand, or basically turn it off completely. Steering wheel, nice with the stitching here, good to hold, it's very easy to turn. You have 1.5 turns left, 1.5 turns right, so basically 3 turns from all the left to all the right. We have the cruise control with the speed limiter or cruise control. Goes in 1 kilometer steps or in 5 kilometer steps. And what I really like is the memory button, which basically when you're driving 80 and it comes to 100 zone, it will recognize that. You press it once, it will take it, and you press it the second time and it activates that speed that you can drive maximum. However, I would only use that system when you're basically accelerating to a higher speed, because when you go to a street sign and you're driving 100 and it becomes 80, and once you press it, obviously it takes some time to lower the speed, and you might get already a radar ticket for that. On the right side we have a source for radio as well as telephone, and a volume rocker up and down, as well as a little rocker here to basically go through the stations. Then everything else is pretty much done over the touchscreen. We have a physical radio control button, which is great, I love that. Then button for the airflow for the front shield, one for the heated rear window, to lock the doors, as well as temperature, turn on and off, as well as the hazard lights. One criticizing point I have here is that if you want to choose the temperature, you really have to go into the sub menu. You have the touch sensitive buttons on the left and right, the shortcut buttons basically, music, navigation, temperature or air condition, phone, car apps. You can have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if you connect your phone, as well as car apps with the board computer, which is all a little bit too far inside. And then you have another one for, in this case, lane assistant, start stop on and off, parking on and off, blind spot assistant, and a few more things. However, the air condition is something that I would really have, I would like to have physical buttons for. And on the bottom, 2 more cup holders with no spacers, just plastic. As mentioned, we have a 6-speed manual gearbox here, which shifts okay, it's not bad. And to reverse, you have to basically hold it up with 2 fingers here and all the way to the left, basically left of the first gear. So just have to get used to it. Manual handbrake, then again here we have this painted, piano black painted plastic, and a little tray here where you have to be careful what you put, because if you put the brake down, obviously you might break it. Armrest with space to put like your wallet and keys and everything. However, the problem for me is, if you can see, it's too far in the back, so I have to sit like this, and it's a little bit too low and you can't adjust it, which is a shame. Glovebox we showed. Then we have a little small tray on the bottom. It looks like actually it will fall out. However, it has a little, something like this where it cannot fall out. And then obviously we have these super comfortable seats, and I like the design. It's really nice. It has a lot of colors, but here it works because you have this dark gray, black, little silver stripe, and this blue stitching, and it's actually very comfortable. You think like usually when the seats are too soft, it's going to be not comfortable on longer rides. Then we have the Sos calling system and a Citroen basically system where you can call in case you would like to book an appointment or you have a problem with your car. As well, it indicates if everyone is buckled up in the car. In the sunshades we have mirrors, however not illuminated, and well, sunshades I said, sorry, sunshade for the driver only. And then we have here the reading lights, which are actually LED technology, so I don't understand why the front lights aren't. Alright, one more thing. Seat belts are not height adjustable, so it is what you get. You have to live with that, and you can adjust the seats in height, obviously, incline as well. And we have heated seats in 3 settings for driver and passenger with this package here together. All right, so that's it. Let's check the second row. All right, so C4 Cactus from the back, and the first thing you'll recognize when you actually switch from the front to the back seat. And by the way, I'm 1.84 meters tall. Seat in front is adjusted to me, so I'm comfortably driving, and you can see how much space I have. So I'm pretty much at the roof line. But I'm not touching it, so I guess for 186 that's pretty much it. Knee space, you still have space to the seat, kind of 1 finger to the top part here, but obviously if you sit like that it's not an issue. Then we have the doors where you have huge compartments for big bottles. I believe actually 2-liter bottles will fit, or even 2 1.5-liter bottles, which is great. This I really love. Armrest, and on top we have actually the one to close the door, which you can actually use as well for smaller items. And then there's the thing that I mentioned to you with the rear window. Actually, it's something just you fold in and out. So basically it's not to open up and down, it's just to get some air through, which I particularly don't like, but if you have children, it's not bad because obviously no one can get into your child and your child cannot fall out or something like that. And it's pretty difficult to throw the teddy bear or anything out from this window as well. So, not bad. On the rear of the seats we have some pockets to put some small items. Then unfortunately there is no connectivity here, so we have no air vents, which is one thing for the airflow. That's why we have the big one on the right there. And we have no 12 volt power socket or USB port. So I wish they would have included that because kids nowadays need electricity. 2 hooks, nothing to hold on to, so we have no handles on any of the seats. We just have 2 hooks on left and right here. Then the headrest, this is the highest position, which is actually high enough, which is great. If we put this one up, you see it's a little bit lower. We have ISOFIX left and right. We can fold down the seats 1/3, 2/3. You'll see here 1/3 here. And the boot, you'll see it's actually not flat, it's a little bit of a gap on top. So let's just put this one back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's check the boot. Oh, sorry. We have some reading lights here in the back side as well, in case you would like to read. All right, coming to the back side and the boot of the C4 Cactus, and we have a few design elements here. For example, the railing on top, which is actually different from what you've seen. You have this part which sticks out in the front as well, so it looks very special. You can get the Cactus without it, or you can get it with it. I think it looks better with it. Then one thing that you will love or hate are the rear windows that you actually can't lift up and down. You can just open them in the back and have basically some airflow. You could see it as a feature, safety feature, if you have children, so they can't fall out or they cannot throw anything out when you have a window like this. However, you would have to operate that because you can't operate from the front, it's manually operated from the back. Then a big feature of the old Cactus were this kind of chocolate bar air bumps that were in the middle of the doors, which now went down to the bottom of it. You see there is a red highlight, same like we have in the front bumper around the fog lights, and you can have that in red, white, and I believe black as well. So it's a little bit lower and not as massive as before. In the back you had as well something like this, it's totally gone now. Then it looks a little bit off-roady because it's pretty high. We have here the Citroen Advanced Comfort System on board, so they did something with the dampers and the springs that makes the car much more comfortable. However, at the same time, it's not a sporty car. Obviously, it's a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder. It's good on fuel, as I mentioned, and it's really nice on comfort, which goes along with the seats. Then we have the parking sensors and the reverse camera on the right side in the lid. I really like the lights. They're sleek, red and white only. Then we have a white third brake light. Obviously, it's when it's illuminated, it's in red. In the little spoiler, you see we have the glass from the B-pillar around tinted, and then we have the big Citroen logo here. Once we open the lid, you'll see the lights for actually the plate number and the reverse camera. And I like reverse cameras, they're really good. However, the resolution here is very low, so I would like it to be actually higher resolution. Then boot space, we have anything between 348 to 1,170 liters, depending on if you fold down the seats. We have 1/3 and 2/3 on the left. And yeah, if you basically load it up to the roof, it will be maximum 1,170 liters. Below the boot floor, you have some space and a compressor kit. There is no spare tire, and obviously you can put some smaller stuff and cleaning cloth and everything there. And one little issue that I would see is that the loading height is really high. I would say like around 120, 110, 120. So basically if you get your shopping grocery, you have to lift it over and then you have to put it down a step like this. That's pretty much it. Let's close it and now let's drive. Okay, so let's drive the C4 Cactus. And as usual, there are points that I think should be improved and there are points that are pretty good and I like. So let's start with, as usual, the points that I would like to see improved. Okay, so first one I'll actually see right away when you're driving is we have a shift indicator, which is a great thing because it tells you when to shift up. However, I did not see that going down. And why I would like to have it going down is because we have no RPM gauge, as mentioned. And this is something I dislike because RPM gauge is nowadays, it's a basic thing. It's not anything fancy, you know. And even though the display, I like the design of the display, it's sleek and thin and gives you only basic information, which is actually what you need, so you're not distracted too much. it's missing, because I would like to know when I can shift, because the engine is pretty quiet for a 3-cylinder, I have to say, but if you turn on the music, you can't hear it at all. And then it becomes difficult to hear, for most people, I would say, when to shift up and down. You'll feel it, obviously, but it would be nicer if we have it. Then, second point is we have a cruise control and we have a speed limiter, which is great. I love cruise control, however, I'm driving now in this 30 zone. Just now was the speed camera, and I cannot engage cruise control because it tells me cruise control not available, speed too low. Cruise control starts only at 40, and that is something I dislike. I want a cruise control to start at least at 30 kilometers an hour. If it's not for you, then, you know, if this is something that you don't care about, okay, fine. Then, the menu. I like the screen, the buttons work okay, you know, you have to sometimes press twice because obviously it's touch sensitive buttons, but if you don't touch properly, it doesn't engage, right? But I do not like that the air conditioning is in a sub-menu. That is a basic feature of the car. It has to be somewhere here. At least the fan and the temperature up and down, even if it's for everyone, I wouldn't mind. But this way it's just a pain because they make this minimalistic to not have the driver basically take the attention of the driver, and then you have to look around here and basically attention goes towards the middle screen. Not so good. Then what else? The steering is super light, which is nice in city traffic and if you're into comfort, but if you'd like to drive a little bit more faster or sporty, it's a little bit too, I mean, it's too light. I would like to have more feedback. It's very direct, but it's just too light. And turn from left to right, it's 3 turns in total. Then windows in the back, I mentioned, could be seen as positive or negative at the same time, because well, you can't operate them from the front. So if your child opens it, it stays open, and if it's closed, you can't just open it while driving, so you have to stop. Maybe it's supposed to be so you stop more often and get the brake, which is obviously good for safety and great, but it's still annoying if you just would like, you know, the child to please stop, don't open the window or whatever, and they do it, right? Because they're old enough. So that's another thing. There's no connectivity in the back, so as I mentioned, no USB port, no power socket, and biggest drawback point for me with the C4 Cactus is the halogen light. It's just not up to date, I'm sorry to say. It's 2018 and you can get it on small scooters, electric scooters, motors, small cars. I have to mention Suzuki here. The Ignis has LED lights, the Swift has LED lights, and there are more manufacturers who have LED lights as well. And for a car that, even if you would take the regular price, 30,800, and you still have halogen lights, is just not good enough, sorry to say. Then 2 more points is armrest too low and too far in the back. Loading height of the boot is too high. Depends on if you're maybe an elderly person, you have to lift it up really high, which isn't that great. And that's pretty much it for the improvement points. So the positive points, I love the design of it. So it's really a good looking car. I love the railing, how it looks. The rims work together. It has a little bit off-roady look, even though it's not. Well, yes, you have the grip control, but it's obviously a front-wheel drive car, not an all-wheel drive car. And I doubt anyone will actually use this really much, or even people will not be able to choose the right setting, I would say, if it's there. So maybe it helps, maybe not. I guess, or I reckon 99.9% of the people will never touch that thing. What I love is that they have a dedicated space for a phone and a USB port right above it, so you can charge actually your phone, which is great. You have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is great as well. We have navigation, works good. I was able to actually shut it up and turn down the volume, because for example, I don't like when navigation tells me stuff. I just want it to show me. But after some searching, I was actually able to find it. And yeah, I like the comfort of the drive. I mean, it's really super comfortable. This Citroen Advanced Comfort System. I'm not going to explain what it is basically something to do with the suspension, with the dampers and the springs, and how they operate. However, it's really comfortable, I have to say, and especially on long drives, it's great. And the main thing I love about this car is how fuel efficient you can drive it. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, to be honest. Yes, obviously I was pushing it to the limits in regards to, I was driving around 88 kilometers an hour on the highway, and sometimes even a bus has to overtake me. Most people won't do that, I understand that. But I was driving the same route to work on another day with the maximum speed I could drive. So where it was 80, I was driving 83, whereas 100, I was driving 103, whereas 120, I was driving 123, because GPS-wise, it's going to be then the correct speed. And the maximum I used then was 5.3 liters, and that's still pretty good. So considering 5.3 liters on average, if you go for holiday, or if you drive highway distances, it's going to be a good fuel consumption, because 5.3 with a 50-liter fuel tank means you'll be able to achieve over 900 kilometers on a fuel tank. And this is a petrol-powered car, this is not a diesel, yeah? So please keep that in mind. We'll drive this way and then we go a little bit on the highway. Now, the engine, 1.2 liter 3-cylinder, again, 3-cylinder today is not the same like 5 or 10 years ago. 3-cylinders today are pretty powerful because they're turbocharged. This one has good torque, 230 Newton meters, just lowered the ref range at 1750 RPM. Top speed 207, 9.1 from 0 to 100 is all good figures, and 131 horsepower. It has space for 5. Boot space 348 liters, is not the biggest, but it's enough. I mean, it's a pretty good car. Now, price is 21,200 for the smaller one, 110 horsepower with the 5-speed manual. Obviously, we won't have all the equipment on board, so blind pause assistant and lane departure warning. That's one more point, that it's so quiet, you know. It's blinking very tiny little LED light, or like a light in the dashboard on the top left corner. It's very quiet. If I turn on the music, I don't hear it at all. If I have my hand here, I don't see it even. Either it should be very loud, or you can at least adjust it, because I couldn't adjust it, or it has to be an active lane departure assistant, not a warner, because in this case it's kind of useless, to be honest, you know. It doesn't do anything other than just beep very quietly, in my opinion too quiet, and it doesn't help you go back in the lane. So either make it an active assistant or just skip it and you don't need it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I would say. So we're just gonna go to the highway, or we accelerate through here. You see already 80. So it has a good pickup, I have to say so. Most people think like, oh, 3-cylinder, no. But actually it has a good pickup, and because we have a 6-speed manual, we are able to achieve this amazing fuel consumption figures. Again, 5.3, just above 900 kilometers, and if you really drive like I was driving it, you're gonna get anything above 1,100, 1,200 kilometers. If I would drive really 80, 85, 88 the whole time throughout Germany and going from Sweden to I don't know where, to Italy, you could drive 1,300 kilometers on one fuel tank, which is amazing. Now, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was informative. If yes, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, ask if you have any questions, and share the video with anyone who's interested in maybe looking for a new car. Mention to you that he or she is interested in a Citroen. And thanks again, Garage Boxili AG in Goldswil, who actually gave me the car so I could show it to you. So that's it. I wish you a great day, sunshine, good weather, and I'll see you next time. Bye.